Captain Elias Ward had always believed in one thing, his oath. The galaxy was a dark place filled with chaos, smugglers, and alien warlords. And Elias had sworn to protect it under the Terran command. He was a soldier of Earth's peace patrol, a man who followed rules even when no one was watching. But destiny, as it often does, had other plans on the edge of the spiral arm. The ship TSS Vanguard drifted through the blue storms of Valara 9. Lightning flashed like claws across the clouds, and the crew scanned the surface for distress beacons. A faint signal blinked deep in the canyons, an ancient temple half buried in the storm dust. Elias gave the order, "Prepare landing team. We're going down." The dropship cut through the turbulence like a knife. As they landed, the sand danced around them, glowing faintly with static energy. Inside the ruins, strange symbols pulsed on the walls, like veins under living skin. Sergeant Mills muttered, "Sir, this place isn't on any chart." Elias nodded, his visor reflecting the electric haze. "That's what worries me." Then they found her. A woman, or something close, lying against a broken pillar. Her silver-white skin, marked with golden fractures that shimmered softly. Her eyes fluttered open, glowing with liquid light. "Human," she whispered, her voice like a song underwater. Elias knelt beside her, scanning her vitals. "She's alive." As his hand touched her shoulder, a surge of light exploded between them. Every nerve in his body screamed as memories flooded his mind. Images of burning cities, crystal oceans, and a race falling into silence. He saw her people, proud, beautiful, dying one by one. Then it ended as suddenly as it began. Elias gasped, his chest heaving. "What the hell was that?" The alien woman looked into his eyes. Trembling, "You carry the spark my people lost." Mills stepped back, aiming his weapon. "Sir?" "She's dangerous." Elias raised his hand. "Lower it." "Sergeant." Something about her felt fragile, sacred even. He could feel her heartbeat through his glove, and somehow it matched his own. They carried her back to the dropship. The storm outside roared like a living beast, throwing lightning at the hull. Inside, Elias wrapped her in a thermal blanket, watching her skin pulse with faint light. "What's your name?" he asked softly. She blinked slowly, as if remembering how to speak. "Sirai." "I am Sarai of the Alari." Elias frowned. "Alari?" "That race vanished thousands of years ago." Her lips curved into a sad smile. "Not all of us," the ship's AI interrupted. "Captain, her molecular structure is unstable. Readings indicate symbiotic resonance." Elias stared at the monitor. "In English, it means, Captain," the AI replied. "Her cells are adapting to yours." Elias turned back to Sarai, who now looked stronger, her wounds closing in spirals of gold light. She reached for his hand. "You are my bonded guardian," she said. "I don't even know what that means," Elias muttered. But he didn't pull away. When the Vanguard ascended back into orbit, something strange happened. The storm clouds below shifted, forming a perfect circle that glowed for a moment, like an eye-opening. Sensors picked up an energy pulse, moving through space faster than light. It was as if the entire planet had sent a signal. "Captain," the AI said, "that wave is spreading. Like it's calling to something." Elias stared out the viewport, feeling the echo of Sarai's presence in his mind. Her voice brushed against his thoughts, soft and distant. "They will come for me. And for you." That night, while the crew slept, Elias stood alone in the observation deck. Valara 9 shimmered below like a wounded jewel. He replayed the moment he touched Sirai, the flood of memories, the warmth, the connection that felt impossible. He was a soldier, not a believer in fate or magic, yet here he was, feeling the heartbeat of an alien woman somewhere inside his own chest. He whispered to himself, "Protect the galaxy." That's the oath. But deep down he knew the galaxy had just changed. And maybe, this time, it didn't want his protection. Maybe it wanted him. As the stars drifted past, a faint light appeared outside the viewport, a single glowing beacon far in the distance. The ship's sensors couldn't trace it, but it pulsed in rhythm with Sarai's breathing. Elias turned as she appeared behind him, walking slowly, barefoot, her hair floating like silver mist. "You feel it too," she said, her voice quiet but sure. He nodded, unable to lie. "Yeah." "What is it?" Her eyes met his, full of both hope and sorrow. "It is the Covenant," she whispered, "and it has begun." Elias didn't understand her words, but he understood the look, the same look soldiers gave before the start of a war. The difference was this time, he wasn't sure who the enemy would be. The stars outside seemed to blink once, as if something ancient had just woken up. And far away, in the deep black of space, a fleet of unknown ships began to move, each one following the same beacon that now beat within the heart of one human captain. He had sworn to protect the galaxy, but now the galaxy had chosen him for something far greater. And as Sarai whispered in the silence of the deck, "We are bound now." Elias, he realized the truth. The oath he lived by might be the very thing that destroys him. Elias woke before dawn's cycle, the soft hum of the Vanguard echoing through the metal walls. Sleep had not come easy. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw Sarai's glowing face and the storm that followed her rescue. He told himself it was just exhaustion, just another mission. But deep down he knew it was something more. When he entered the med bay, Sarai was already awake, sitting up beneath the glow of containment lights. Her eyes followed him, calm and unafraid, her silver hair drifting like smoke. "Good morning, Captain," she said softly. As if she had known the phrase all her life, Elias frowned. "You shouldn't know our language." She tilted her head. "Your thoughts teach me. The bond shares more than you think." He froze. "Bond," he repeated. "Whatever happened down there, it was an accident." Sarai smiled faintly. "There are no accidents in the pattern of the stars." Before he could answer, the med scanner beeped in alarm. The display showed twin pulse lines, his and hers rising and falling in perfect sync. The ship's II spoke in a neutral tone. "Captain Ward, biological resonance confirmed. Heart rate, cell rhythm, and neural signals are aligning." Mills, standing nearby, swore under his breath. "That's not humanly possible." Elias glared at the monitor. "Then make it impossible again." But the more distance he kept, the stronger the link grew. When Sarai breathed, he felt the air move in his own chest. When she was afraid, his hands trembled. He couldn't hide from it, even behind command orders and locked doors. Later, during ship debrief, command demanded a full report. "Captain Ward," the voice over the holofeed said coldly, "the alien you recovered is now classified under Project Eclipse. Do not release any data. Do not attempt contact beyond protocol." Elias clenched his jaw. "She's not a specimen, she's alive." The Admiral's tone sharpened. "You're a soldier, not a philosopher. Follow your oath." The transmission ended with static, leaving silence heavy in the air. Sarai watched him from the doorway, her expression unreadable. "You defend me even when your own people turn away," she said quietly. He sighed, rubbing his eyes. "It's my job to protect life." "Any life." She stepped closer, the air shimmering faintly around her skin. "No, Elias, it's something deeper," she said. "You are bound to the Covenant whether you believe it or not." The word covenant echoed in his mind like thunder. Images flashed again, ruined worlds, glowing children, and a towering spire of light reaching beyond galaxies. He stumbled back, gripping the table. "Stop that. I can't take these visions." Sarai reached out but hesitated. "I'm sorry. The link reacts when we're near." He looked up at her. anger fading into confusion. "What are you?" "I am Alari," she said softly. "We were once many, now only echoes remain. Our line is ending. And you are the key to its rebirth." Her words hung between them like fire. Elias shook his head. "I'm a soldier, not a savior. And I'm definitely not part of anyone's prophecy." Sarai's golden eyes glowed brighter. "Prophecies are only memories of the future," she whispered, before Elias could respond. The ship jolted violently, alarms blaring. "Captain," the AI warned. "Unidentified vessels approaching Vor Syndicate signatures confirmed." Elias snapped to command mode. "All hands to stations, shields up, outside." 3 black ships emerged from the void, their engines pulsing red. They fired plasma rounds that streaked across the Vanguard's hull. "Return fire!" Elias ordered, the crew scrambling, but every hit sent a pulse of pain through his chest. Sarai gasped, gripping her side. "They're using resonance disruptors." "They can feel our link." He stared at her. "How do you know that?" "Because they came for me," she said, her voice trembling. "They want the Covenant's air." Another explosion shook the deck. Lights flickered, and oxygen alarms howled. Sarai pressed her hands to the wall, glowing patterns spreading under her fingers. The ship's systems responded instantly. Stabilizing, Elias watched in shock. "You're interfacing with my ship." She looked at him, eyes fierce. "I am using what you gave me, our bond." The next instant, energy surged through the Vanguard. Turrets lit with white fire. Returning shots with deadly precision, 3 enemy ships broke formation. One exploding into violet flame, the others retreated into the dark, leaving silence behind. When the battle ended, Elias found himself breathing hard. Sweat mixing with cold fear, he turned to Sarai, who was still glowing faintly. "What just happened?" he asked. She smiled weakly. "You and I shared strength. Your life force amplified mine. Mine healed your ship." He swallowed hard. "That's not possible." Her hand brushed his chest. "Warm and light. Then what do you call this?" "Captain." For a long moment, neither spoke outside. The stars drifted peacefully, as if nothing had happened. But inside, Elias felt everything changing. His pulse no longer his own, Sarai looked out the viewport, whispering, "They will send more. The Vor never stop." Elias nodded slowly. "Then we'll be ready." Yet even as he said it, he felt the truth pressing inside his heart. This bond was growing stronger, deeper, more dangerous. And he couldn't tell whether it was a weapon, a curse, or the beginning of something he no longer wanted to fight. That night, as he stood alone in his quarters, he heard her voice inside his mind again. Soft, steady, filled with both fear and hope. "Elias, do not run from what we are." He closed his eyes, feeling her heartbeat in his own chest, whispering to the empty room, "What are we?" But there was no answer, only the slow rhythm of 2 hearts beating as one across the silence of space. Elias stood on the bridge of the Vanguard, staring into the dark stretch of space where the Vor ships had vanished. The stars looked calm, but his mind was not. Each breath he took seemed to echo another heartbeat that wasn't fully his. Sarai stood behind him, silent and radiant, her eyes reflecting the console lights. She spoke softly. "You feel it too, don't you?" He turned toward her. "Feel what?" "The pattern," she whispered. "The thread between us, it grows stronger with every passing moment." Elias clenched his fists. "I'm not part of any pattern." "Sarai, I'm a soldier with orders. And this is wrong." Sarai smiled sadly. "You still think love and destiny follow rules." Before he could answer, the ship's II interrupted. "Captain, command requests immediate transmission." Elias straightened. Turning away from her glow, the holoscreen flickered, showing Admiral Lorne's stern face. "Captain Ward." Your report on the Vor encounter is incomplete, Lorne said. His voice cold as metal. Elias hesitated. We took heavy fire, sir. They were after the alien survivor? Lorne narrowed his eyes. You mean the Ilari female? Yes, we've received data about anomalies between you two. Elias stiffened. That's classified medical information. The Admiral leaned forward. Not anymore, Captain. You're to bring her to the Mars containment facility immediately. Then the feed cut out, leaving only static and the low hum of the ship. Sarai's voice trembled. Containment means death. Elias, he turned slowly. They won't hurt you. She shook her head, her silver hair shimmering like moonlight. You cannot protect me from what they fear. What do they fear? He asked quietly. She met his gaze. The prophecy. Elias frowned. You keep saying that word. What prophecy? Sarai walked closer, the lights dimming around her, as if the ship itself listened. My people, the Ilari, ruled the stars long ago. But our pride was our fall. We created life and weapon in one breath. And the balance broke. Her voice softened. Our kind became sterile, unable to create new life. The curse of stillborn sons. Elias felt a chill. You mean your race is dying? She nodded slowly. It already has died. Only I remain. And I was sent to wait for the one who carries the spark of renewal. He swallowed. And you think that's me? Sarai's eyes glowed gold. Not think, no. Before he could reply, a sharp pain shot through his chest. He stumbled, clutching the railing as flashes of alien symbols burned through his mind. Sarai caught his hand. It's the bond, she whispered. You're seeing through me. Images filled his head-vast temples, children with human eyes and Ilari skin. A galaxy reborn in blue light. Then he saw something darker. A shadow consuming stars. He gasped. What is that? Sarai's expression hardened. The Vor Syndicate were our servants once. They hunt me to claim the power of rebirth. Elias steadied himself, sweat on his brow. So they want you to make more of your kind, she nodded. Through you. The words hung in the air like fire. Elias took a step back. You're saying I'm supposed to, not just you, she said quickly. You are the first, the bridge between bloods, the human heart that can carry the flame again. Before he could argue, the Vanguard's alarms blared again. Captain, the AI shouted. Multiple warp signatures inbound Vor fleet reappearing. Elias rushed to the command chair. All stations ready, shields full. But Sarai moved to the center of the bridge. Closing her eyes. Stand down, she said quietly. Let me show you. A golden aura spread from her hands, pulsing through the air like ripples in water. The entire ship vibrated, systems locking into harmony with her rhythm. Elias shouted, Sarai, what are you doing? Her voice echoed softly. The prophecy begins with light and blood as one. Outside, the Vor fleet opened fire, plasma rounds blazing through space. But as the first bolt hit the Vanguard, the energy bent absorbed into a glowing shield of gold light. The enemy's weapons faltered, feedback bursting their cannons one by one. Elias watched in disbelief. That's impossible. Sarai turned toward him, her eyes glowing brighter than the stars. Not impossible. Inevitable. The battle ended within minutes. The Vor ships drifting powerless in the void. Elias sat stunned in the captain's chair, his heart pounding. Sarai walked to him, every step soft. Graceful, otherworldly. You see now, she said. Our connection is not curse, but creation. He looked up at her. Torn between awe and fear, I see danger, he replied. For both of us. She knelt beside him, her hand brushing his cheek. You are bound to something greater than orders or war. Elias Ward, she whispered. Then her voice softened even more. You were born to protect the galaxy, and now You will help it live again. He swallowed hard. Unable to look away, the hum of the ship quieted, and only the sound of their breaths filled the room. Sarai leaned closer, her words almost a whisper. We would make beautiful children. Human. Elias froze, his pulse matching hers, his body trembling under the weight of those words. Desire and duty collided in his mind like twin storms. He turned away, whispering, I can't. I swore an oath. Sarai smiled sadly, her golden eyes dimming like the setting sun. Then perhaps, she said softly, it is time to break it. Outside, the stars pulsed once, bright and alive. Somewhere beyond them, something ancient stirred, responding to the bond that now existed between one human soldier and the last daughter of the Alari. And as the vanguard drifted quietly through space, Elias realized his war was only beginning. The vanguard floated in silence after the battle, its metal hull scarred and glowing from Sarai's golden light. Captain Elias Ward stood at the edge of the viewing deck, staring into the endless dark, his reflection flickering across the glass. He had faced 1,000 battles, but none like this. None that shook his heart more than his orders. Behind him, Sarai's quiet footsteps echoed like a heartbeat in the still air. You haven't slept, she said softly, her voice carrying that calm, melodic tone that always seemed to reach him. Elias didn't turn. Soldiers don't sleep when the galaxy keeps changing around them. Sarai stepped closer, her glow gentle now, like candlelight. It isn't the galaxy that's changing. Elias, it's you. He exhaled, rubbing the bridge of his nose. You're in my head, in my ship, and now in my blood. I can't even tell where I end and you begin, she smiled faintly. Perhaps that is what frightens you most. He turned, finally meeting her gaze. You think this is some kind of destiny? Her golden eyes met his without fear. I know it is. Destiny doesn't give orders, he said bitterly. Command does. And they ordered me to deliver you to Mars containment. Sarai's face went pale. If you take me there, they'll kill me. I don't have a choice, he said quietly. But his voice cracked halfway through. She stepped closer, her energy brushing against him like warm wind. There is always a choice, she whispered. You chose to save me on Velara. You chose to protect me when they attacked. You can choose now, too. He stared at her, torn between emotion and duty. I swore an oath, he said again. Though the words felt smaller every time he spoke them, Sarai's hand touched his cheek, and the contact sent a wave of emotion flooding through him, pain, longing, love, all mixed together. Her voice trembled. And I swore to protect the light that still lives within your kind. The human spark that could heal the stars. The deck lights flickered suddenly, and the ship's AI interrupted. Captain, long-range sensors detect a VOR signal, approaching at high velocity. Elias straightened, stepping back from her touch. Battle stations, Sarai's glow brightened. No, Elias. It's not a battle. They're tracking our bond. They can follow me through you. His eyes widened. Through me, she nodded sadly. Your connection to me is a beacon. Elias cursed under his breath. Then I'll draw them away. He reached for his command badge. But Sarai grabbed his wrist, her voice desperate. If you die, the bond dies too. And everything ends with us. He looked at her, anger turning to sorrow. Then what do we do? She closed her eyes. We hide. Deep within the storm clouds of Delta Eris, the interference there will mask our signal. He hesitated, then nodded. Set a course now. The ship dove into warp. Streaks of light sliding past like ghosts inside. The hum of the engines mixed with the sound of their quickened breaths. Elias could feel her emotions like his own heartbeat, fear, hope, and something softer. He turned toward her. When this is over, what happens to us? Sarai's gaze lowered. When destiny ends, Only love remains, she said quietly. He stared at her for a long moment, then looked away. You sound too sure of that, she smiled faintly. I was born from light, Elias, but you were born from will. That is why the stars chose you, hours later. Turbulence rocked the ship as they entered the storm fields of Delta Eris. Lightning danced across the hull like serpents of silver fire. Shields holding at 60%, the AI reported. Elias gripped the console. Keep us steady. Sarai stood behind him, her hands glowing. Channeling energy into the failing systems, he glanced back at her. You'll burn yourself out doing that. She shook her head. It's not energy, it's life. The storm grew worse, tearing across space in violent bursts of light. Elias stumbled, catching her before she fell, his arms tightening around her. For a moment, time stopped. The glow around them pulsed in rhythm with their hearts. She looked up at him, breathless. Do you still fear what we are? He whispered. I fear what I'll become if I stop fighting it. Her lips parted. Then stop. Their faces were inches apart, lightning flashing through the windows, as if the galaxy itself watched. And when their lips met, the ship filled with golden light. Every panel and circuit pulsing with life. The Vanguard was no longer just a vessel. It was alive. Responding to their union, the AI's voice stuttered. Captain, your bio readings are merging completely. Elias didn't hear it. All he felt was Sarai's warmth. The bond finally complete. When the storm cleared, the ship drifted in quiet starlight. Sarai rested against him, her voice soft and calm. Now you understand, she said. The bond isn't a weapon. It's creation. Elias looked down at her, his heart still racing. And command will never forgive me for this. She smiled sadly. Then they will have to learn forgiveness. A beeping sound cut through the silence, the AI speaking again. Captain. Incoming encrypted message priority read. Elias reached for the console, and his blood ran cold. The message read, Captain Elias Ward has violated the Interspecies Conduct Act. Terran Command orders immediate retrieval. Dead or alive, he looked at Sarai, who already knew, her eyes full of quiet acceptance. So this is what they call justice, he said bitterly. She touched his face gently. No, Elias. This is fear. He took a deep breath, standing tall again. The soldier inside him awakening one last time. Then let them come, he said, his voice steady. We'll face them together. Outside, in the far distance, a fleet of Terran ships began to appear. Their formation perfect, their intentions clear. Elias watched the lights growing brighter, and for the first time in his life, he didn't feel alone. He had broken his oath, but he had found something worth dying for. And as Sarai took his hand, the stars themselves seemed to shimmer, whispering of a love powerful enough to defy the whole galaxy. The fleet of Terran warships filled the void like a storm made of steel. Dozens of engines glowed red across the darkness. Each one locked on the Vanguard. Captain Elias Ward stood at the bridge, the hum of distant energy cannons vibrating through his boots. He had faced enemy fleets before, but this time, his own people were on the other side of the guns. Sarai stood beside him, her silver-white skin reflecting the warning lights, calm in the chaos. They will destroy us. Elias, she said quietly, not because they hate you, but because they fear what we are. He nodded, his jaw set. Then we give them a reason to stop fearing. The ship's eye spoke. Captain, command demands immediate surrender. Failure to comply will result in termination. Elias took a deep breath. Open a channel. The holoscreen flickered to life, showing Admiral Lorne's hard face once again. Captain Ward, the Admiral said, you have violated every code of contact, disobeyed direct orders, and endangered the stability of our species. Elias stood tall. I protected life, sir. That's what my oath was for. The Admiral's eyes narrowed. You call this protection? You fused your biology with an alien, created an untested hybrid threat, and compromised Terran command. Sarai stepped forward, her voice soft but steady. You misunderstand, Admiral. What was broken is now healed. Lorne glared at her. You are the reason humans die in wars. They don't understand. Elias snapped. Enough. She's not your enemy. But the Admiral only said, then she's yours to die with, and cut the channel. Moments later, alarms screamed, and missiles streaked through the darkness. Impact in 5 seconds, the AI warned. Elias shouted, evasive maneuvers. But the first salvo hit hard, the deck trembling under the blast. Sarai fell against him, her light flickering. Elias? They're tearing the bond apart. He caught her, holding her tight. Stay with me? Her fingers brushed his chest, leaving trails of gold. If they destroy the link, I die. His heart froze. Then they'll have to go through me first. He turned to the crew. Prepare for jump. We're leaving the system? The helmsman hesitated. Sir? We won't survive another hit. Elias looked at Sarai, her glow dimming with each passing second. Then we make our own way out, he said. He reached the command console, activating the ship's manual override. Elias. What are you doing? Sarai whispered weakly. He looked back at her and smiled. Finishing what fate started. Energy surged through the bridge as he connected the neural interface directly to the ship. The Vanguard groaned, its systems merging fully with his mind. Through his link with Sarai, her power flowed into him like sunlight. For the first time, they were truly one man, woman, machine. And light, he whispered, hold on. And the stars exploded into streaks of white as they jumped. The fleet's sensors lost them instantly, the ship vanishing into the depths of uncharted space. When the light faded, they emerged in silence near a dying red sun. The ship's hull glowed faintly with gold veins, the engines humming with a living pulse. Sarai lay in his arms, her breathing shallow but steady. He brushed her hair from her face. We made it. Her voice trembled. We are not safe yet, but I feel something new. What is it? He asked softly. She placed his hand over her heart, guiding him to a second. Smaller heartbeat within. It's life, Elias. New life, she whispered. Our child? For a moment, he couldn't speak. His mind struggling to understand. A human-Ilari hybrid, something the galaxy believed impossible. He smiled through tears. Then the prophecy was real. Sarai nodded faintly. You gave it meaning. Days passed as they drifted near the red sun. Hidden from Terran scanners, Elias repaired the ship piece by piece, while Sarai's light grew stronger again. The AI's voice was softer now, almost reverent. Captain, biological readings confirm hybrid gestation. A perfect synthesis of human and Ilari DNA. Elias looked out at the dying sun, his voice quiet. A new beginning, born in the shadow of an ending. But peace never lasts long in the galaxy. A distress call echoed from a nearby colony Terran civilians under attack by Vor raiders. Elias stood at the viewport, torn between hiding and helping. Sarai stepped up beside him. You already know what you will do. He nodded slowly. Yeah, I do. He turned to the AI. Set course for the colony, full power, Sarai smiled, her hand resting over his. Even now, you choose to protect. He looked at her and said softly, That's who I am, as the Vanguard moved toward the battle. Its golden glow returned brighter than before. Terran ships detected the signal, and hesitated. Many thought they were seeing a ghost. The voice of the Admiral echoed across the comms, full of disbelief. Captain Ward? You're alive, Elias answered, calm and strong. Alive, Admiral. And no longer your weapon. The Vanguard entered the fray, its light shielding both Terran and alien ships alike. Missiles burned away harmlessly in its golden field, the battle turning into something the galaxy had never seen, a moment of unity. When the fighting ended, silence filled the stars once more. Elias and Sarai stood hand in hand on the observation deck, watching the ships drift peacefully. "Do you think they'll ever understand?" she asked softly. He smiled faintly. "Maybe not now, but someday they'll tell stories about this. About us." Her eyes shimmered with warmth. "And what will they call it?" He looked at the endless horizon, the dying sun slowly reborn in her reflection. "They'll call it the day humanity stopped fearing love," he said. The stars flared brighter, their light reflecting off the Vanguard's golden hull. And far beyond, in worlds yet unborn, the legacy of one man's choice began to shape a new age. He had sworn to protect the galaxy. And he did, not through war, not through duty, but through love that changed the stars forever, the end.